The other thing I got to say with these lights, and this throws me off too. Everyone has these pictures of lights. If craft came here from another galaxy, from so far away, do you think they need a light bulb? What are they? Rocky, answer me that question. What do you think the ones are that are not the few that are not military aircraft? What are they? Are they aircraft from other nations that are interfering with our space? Are they nations that have developed technology beyond U.S. technology? However, maybe we have more I really do believe. We're having a call here. Let's get to the call. Hey, this is Dave Darin. Who's on the line?
Hey, this Dave?
Yeah, this is Dave. What's going on?
Hey, buddy, this is Jeff Lowline. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. Pretty good.
Awesome. We're on the show?
Yeah, we're on the show, and you're live right now. Come on down. Come on
hey,
down.
Listen, I think it's really interesting on the Phoenix Lights case back in 1997, February, March 13th, 1997. So many people have said that this object went over the city, but yet we don't find any credible video of it. The only credible videos that we find is lights information on the west side of South Mountain, clear across the valley, and not going over the city. You would think that if something that massive went over the city of Phoenix, then there would be more videos of such events taking place. But yet, the only credible evidence that I found, in my 20 years of investigating the Phoenix Lights, is, the lights on the west side. Now, I have seen the lights. I found the lights in 2004. I understand why they're here. I understand the purpose. I understand the fault line and the energy on which they are attracted to. And in studying the petroglyphs out here, it doesn't explain, it doesn't show any crafts whatsoever that we're finding around the Valley of the Sun. What we are finding is living entities in the sky here. Not one rock art to suggest anything of a spaceship technology, little green guys from Mars, any of that. What we are finding is stuff that you can find in, like, the Sumerian when it talks about the lizard man and the shapeshifters and the things coming out of the sky and coming to Earth and things like that.
Okay.
So it's just... Go ahead.
No, I said, it's funny because I had Jazzy on a couple nights ago or last week, and she was talking about the orbs when she was on a boat, and the light on the boat went off, and she observed orbs approaching the boat. So those were living beings that were illuminating a light, probably because they had an internal energy source of each of the beings. So actually, what you're saying, I believe. I really do, and I find it really surprising that Phoenix has, how many people live in Phoenix? 5 million, right?
At least.
Yeah, at least. So you would believe that there would be enough cameras out there, and the videos would be bad, but if you have so many of them observing this object, so many, even if the focus on all of these cameras was not good, there'd be so many of them, there'd be an overwhelming amount of evidence. We did have another caller, by the way. Did you hang in there? I did try to connect her or him. Is there anyone else on? Hang on, let me bring another caller in, but hang on the line. Don't hang up yet, okay?
Okay.
Hi, this is Dave Darin. Do we have another call that came in? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, this is Dave Darin. Can I help you? We're on the air.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, this is Thomas Jennings. I go by TJ. I live in Fort Worth, Texas. I was in the hospital the last 2 days. I couldn't sleep. I was watching the TV, and on a show called Unidentified on the History Channel, they had a group of carriers. The USS Eisenhower was one of them. 2 naval aviators were captain lieutenants, not people in the backwoods of Arkansas that their parents were brothers and sisters, we're talking about naval aviators,
Okay.
saw something dogging the fleet, and they had it captured on their in-flight cameras. Now, I don't know what it was, Dave. I don't know how old the show was, but I saw something from their inboard cameras that did not have wings, did not have a tail, but was hovering between the carriers. Now, you tell me what that is.
Well, actually, I can't tell you what it is, but that I've got to get people like that on. Not to say that anyone that listens to this show that's talking about Glendale or the Phoenix Light is not credible. I'm just saying I want to have people on that have physically, there is one person who's been sending me a lot of pictures. And I asked that individual to come on my show. But I actually think, I forget what the reason was. I think he said that he's a little bit worried that these aliens that he's taken pictures of the craft in the air, I think he's scared of them to come on the show for some reason. So, when I see people that have these videos or pictures of it, by the way, anyone listening right now, if you've got a video and you want to send it to the Dave Darin Show, send it to Dave davedarin@gmail.com. But when you send it, make sure that you send it with the knowledge that I want you to come on the air and talk about it. So any of these aviators on these craft in the ocean that have seen stuff, I've got to try to connect with these people and really see.
Right.
I've got to see that. I want to be the eyewitness of it to any degree I can be an eyewitness. And I should really get out. Someone said Glendale, Arizona is an active place. I should really get out there to Glendale, Arizona and see what the heck they're talking about. So at least I could put my eyeballs on a craft and then come and talk logically about what I saw. But did you guys, I think you guys are both on still, right? Both of you, the callers, are on? You guys both on still?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah, I showed the north today, as a matter of fact, around 2:40.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Well, Dave, I don't know if you saw it, but yesterday, in a group called Intergalactic something that I belong to, there was a post of a bright blue light over Bisbee, Australia, I believe.
Okay. Now,
Right.
how about if I ask both of you individually? Let's start off. Whoever wants to answer first. This is what my comment was. My comment was, why do they need lights? Why would they need an illumination or a light bulb on their craft to be around Earth, the planet Earth, whether they're in orbit or they're closer down to our ground? Why do they need a light? They've got all the sophistication to come here through whether it was a black hole or however they got here with the technology that they got. Don't you think they've evolved through the technology where they don't need a light bulb anymore? They don't need a halogen light.
You would think so, Dave. Yeah, you're making sense. When I heard you say that on the live, I was like, yeah, he's got a point.
Yeah. So,
Can I answer you, Dave?
go ahead. What's your opinion?
Well, I think what we're dealing with here is not technology, it's not crafts. What we're dealing with is living beings, is living entities. And they're actually absorbing the energy around the globe, around the Earth, through the fault line.
Oh,
And
okay.
this light that is illuminating from them is actually the energy that they are producing because this is the way they are. Just like humans, it's like another life, it's another living being, another living, I wouldn't go to say an organism, but it's another living creature. And because they're producing these lights, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a spaceship, it's a living entity, and it's just the energy illuminating around them from what they're observing from the fault line here on Earth.
Okay, now how did they get here? How did they get here? Did they get on a craft?
Actually,
how did they get here?
that's a good question. What a lot of people fail to understand, but you have to look into the history. And the history says that they have always been here. They're not from Mars. They're not from Atlas Centauri. This is their home also. They have always been here. When you look at the Native American legends and the Native American stories and the petroglyphs on the mountain, they talk about these beings. They talk about how these things were cast down to earth, okay, and this was their home. And the people living at that time worship these things as God because they didn't know how to live at that time. So these things taught the Native Americans how to survive, how to basically live, and in return, they worship these things as God. Now, when you look at the history, it shows that this is what led to the tribes, not only here in Arizona as far as the Hohokam, but also tribes around the world when they came up missing. Because we have tribes that were here one day and gone the next with no explanation on where they went. Now, the archaeologists here in Phoenix say, well, the Hohokam, they just simply migrated somewhere else because it got too hot. But when you look into the oral tradition and what the shamans here in Phoenix, Arizona today, what happened to the Hohokam people, and what the petroglyphs depict, it says that these Phoenix lights, these things in the sky, came down and picked up these people and took them off, never to be seen again. Now, this coincides with the same exact stories around the world on tribes being here one day and gone the next, with no explanation on where they went. And it's the same story. So you have to ask yourself, well, how is the same story being told and portrayed around the world when these tribes had no contact with each other, at all, and that didn't even know each other at the time back then, but yet we're finding the same story on there was something here in the skies, there was something interacting with mankind, and then it lasted for 1,000 years, and then all of a sudden it all disappeared and vanished. So how is this explainable? Other than the fact that maybe what is being told is correct, is true, because how do they know, how do these other people around the world know on what was going on, that didn't even know each other around the world? So how can you explain the same stories being told with people with no knowledge of each other whatsoever?
Okay, now I'm going to buy into that because I believe that could be a very valid explanation, and I do believe it's quite possible that there were entities, life beings, whether they were very sophisticated energy, whatever they were, and they might have been earthbound for a long period of time, and maybe they were even humanoid like us, and through the millions of years they progressed to another form. We see science fiction movies all the time about human-looking beings. They've evolved and they become energy. They've evolved beyond the need for a human body. So these energies that you're discussing could very well be entities that were here from a long, long time ago. And now they've just developed beyond that, and they're still here with us, amongst us. For whatever reason, they're still amongst us. But why are they still, what are they doing here now? Are they completely peaceful, or what's their purpose?
Okay, so when you look at the history of these things, it says that when man was interacting with these beings, man needed them to survive.
Correct.
You see, we don't need them right now. We have our own jobs, we have food, we have water, everything is fine here in society. So they're simply watchers. They live here among us, they watch from the sky, and they're waiting.
What are they waiting for?
Mankind to once again need them once again. Now, when all the wars start to generate, World War I, World War II, the Gulf War, stuff like this starts to happen around the earth, that's when these things really start to appear in the sky. So World War II, we're talking about the Foo Fighters. In 2004, when I was filming the Phoenix Lights out here in the valley, that's when the Gulf War was going on, things like this. And so when mankind escalates into war, that's when these things start to appear. So the story goes on to say that these things are watching and they're waiting for mankind to need them once again. And let's just say that we do have this big World War III where 2/3 of the earth is destroyed and mankind is needing something to survive because there's no food, there's no water. But yet they see these lights in the sky. And one light comes down and he morphs into a man, just as what the petroglyphs out here on the mountains describe, these things morphing into man, and he comes down and lands on earth and he says, hey, look what I can do. I can perform miracles. I can clean up the water. I can clean up the air. I can give you food. In return, worship me. And this will lead into a whole new ballgame of the fifth world, because the Native Americans say that we're in the fourth world now and we're getting ready to enter the fifth. Now, each time mankind enters each world, these beings are here to help and guide man in their survival. So this is basically what's going on now. We're at the end of the fourth world. We're getting ready to enter the fifth. And, you know, I've been talking to a lot of people saying, oh, I can't wait to be in the fifth world. Well, no, I don't think you do, man. You know, because what we're dealing with out here is creatures. You know, so I've seen a lot of stuff here in Phoenix, man. And I tell you what, these are monsters. These are monsters in the sky. They are scary things. And this is the reason why the government is not talking about these things. They are monitoring, yes, there's helicopters out there on the mountains, yes, there's like airplanes monitoring the situation here, but they're only watching. They're not telling people what's really going on here, because it's scary stuff. It's scary what's going on here. This is not what people are meant to know. This is why some of the Native American shamans won't talk about these things, because it's a type of taboo. All right, we are not meant to know about these things because of the past, because of what happened before, because it led to man's downfall in the beginning. And I'm sorry, but history seems to repeat itself, and history is once again getting ready to repeat itself, entering the fifth world.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple questions here. So you mentioned these entities are here, they're observing us, and they want to be needed again by humanity after we devastate ourselves. So now, they're not here to prevent us from devastating ourselves. They're willing to let us devastate ourselves, correct?
Right.
Okay, so we devastate ourselves, and then they make themselves visible in the form of potentially human likenesses, correct?
Well, that's what the petroglyphs describe, and that's what the history talks about.
Now, are they creating their own flesh, or are they invading humans that have died because of our annihilations of ourselves? Are they inhabiting our bodies and taking our bodies?
No,
they're not reanimating our bodies. Okay,
that's more of a possession.
Okay, so they're not.
They don't possess. They they're entities. They can shapeshift into. I've seen them shapeshift into animals like cows and lambs and serpents. There's a lot of flying serpents flying around here in Phoenix, and also in Mexico, Quetzalcoatl, the flying serpent. Okay, that's exactly what is going on here. Not technology. It's some kind of living organism. It's a living being.
Okay.
And the history says, you know, like we just discussed, is mankind needed these beings to survive. And that's the same story all over the world from different tribes from all over the world.
Okay, and now you said we no longer need them to survive. They're still here observing us. When we destroy ourselves, or the majority of ourselves are dead because we've annihilated most of the human race, they will come, they will present themselves, and they will want to be worshipped as gods, plural, not singular. So they're not willing to, they don't want to be a singular god. These are individual beings that are going to want to be worshipped as gods so they can purify our water and bring a normalcy back to planet Earth and revitalize it so we can continue to live again and grow the planet with a human population, as long as we then worship them for their giving us an ability to continue the living of humanity on planet Earth. That's what you're saying. But they'll want to be worshipped as gods.
And also, you know, when you look into it, when you look into the history and some of the biblical scrolls and some of the other testimony scrolls, you just can't deny it. You know, I mean, if you just take religion out of the Bible, get rid of that religion, kick it out the door, and let's look at the book as a type of history book of the world. When you look at that and you start to understand it, it really talks about what these beings in the sky are and how they interacted with mankind before. Now, we also find out that there are good entities and there are bad entities here all at the same time. For instance, in some of the sacred scrolls, these things actually helped mankind go to the promised land. When you read some of the ancient scrolls, they actually help mankind through their journey. But then again, we also see the bad entities where they lusted after the human women, and from there came born giants, and we have the carvings of the giants out here on South Mountain, and we have the evidence of the giants here on South Mountain, and we have the legends talking about the giants over here on South Mountain. So it all seems to add up, and there's also petroglyphs out here depicting another race of being in war with the holocron against these flying serpents, these entities in the sky. So the stories out here kind of talk about the good and the bad warring over mankind. That's the kind of stories that we're finding here. When we look in India, the Viyamadis, it says that the Viyamadis, that there was good ones and bad ones, and they went to war over the humans. And the good ones had like these magical staff weapons, if you will. And after the war was over, they buried their weapons in certain spots around the earth because they knew eventually they're going to have to come down again to reuse these weapons. Now, when we look at that story, when we come out here and look at the rock art out here on South Mountain, it's the exact same story. When you look at my book and you look on my Facebook page, and when you look on the internet, some of the photos that I've posted, you'll see a man with 4 arms, okay, and he's holding this staff, and he's shooting at a flying serpent in the sky. And we have regular human holocron Indians with bows and arrows shooting at serpents and orbs in the sky. So it was a type of war that was going on that what this petroglyph panel is depicting.
Fascinating. Okay. And so we're getting a lot of comments here too, by the way. Let's see if I can read some of them. It's hard to backtrack and get the start of some of these threads, but here we got Kurt says it's really easy to rationalize when you want to believe something exists. It's very hard to disbelieve the longer you live because your mind wants you to quickly rationalize what your eyes see. So we'll have to analyze maybe that one later. Did you want to respond to that at all?
Well, it's a good point. You want to believe, and at first I was thinking, spaceship, craft, workmen, guys, Lapis Centauri, until I actually witnessed it, until I actually saw it, until I learned about the history, of it all. And then I quickly made a 180 on the whole situation, because I thought they were here for good, but now I just think a whole new different way now on these beings and the history of them and what's really going on here. And I understand why the government isn't talking about this.
Okay,
so,
but we do have another comment here. It says, we believe they are living because we see them and watch them, and the carvings here also depict them. So there's a reverse to the Kurt's point. Here's another point kind of different, stating that. And then Kurt says carvings depict them, and he's got a question mark there. And it says exactly how with another question mark. Now you started to talk about that, these carvings that you've seen, and you spoke about that already. So you mentioned that in the carving. So actually South Mountain, which is in Arizona here, which is fairly close to where I live, how active is that place? If I went there, I think we talked about this before. If I went there, I'd be able to do my radio show from there, this broadcast, and see stuff happening, or it's like a one in every 4 months, and I have to go there every day for 4 months to see activity there, or how reliable would it be for me to go there and look for something to happen and put it on the show?
Well, here's the thing. I discovered the pattern. No one has ever done this before. There's a pattern of when these things are here and when they're not. and they're basically hanging around fault line energy. So the South Mountain area was made by a volcano, and there's a fault line that's under this mountain here. Not only that mountain, but most of the mountains around the valley here. But South Mountain seems to be the one that the Indians came from all over the land back in the day when the Hurricanes were here. They all gathered here on South Mountain to watch these beams in the sky. And it all has to do with the fault line and the right position of the sun. So we find carvings out here of spirals. Now these spirals are doorways. They represent doorways. And when the shaman was explaining this to me, I was thinking to myself at the time, how can a big spacecraft get into a little crack like this? Because the carvings are next to a crack in the boulder. Until I actually saw it, and then I knew what was going on. It's not a crack. That these things are living beings. And I understand that these things are. I understand why they call them spirits, because they're type of spirits. They're living entities, and they come in a pattern. All right, and I sat by South Mountain for almost 3 years, and I always watched it. I watched the east side of South Mountain, and I noticed that they came in patterns. They came on certain months. There were certain months they were here, and then other months they were gone, and it repeated itself the following year. But there was more of them, it seemed. It seemed like things were really escalating by the time I was watching it the second year. And I learned that during the equinox and the solstice time period is when they're not here. Between the equinox and the solstice are the times when you really start to see them heavily. So we just got over the summer solstice, and those of you who have been following me on my Facebook page know that I was filming a lot of stuff out here before the summer solstice, and then things started to die down. Okay, and I've been silent. My studying, everything has been quiet for the past 2 weeks now. But right after the solstice, just as I predicted, we found another orb out here in the sky today, and I filmed it. And so it's starting to reoccur here. So I have a lot of people asking me, dude, I was on South Mountain, but I didn't see anything. Okay, well, what time did you go? What month was it? What season? Because January, February, March, and April, and May seems to be like the hot time to see these things coming and going from South Mountain out here. Okay. And they love mornings. And you can look at some of my old video files, videos from 2005 to 2006 and 2004. You can see the time and date. And it was recurring. So you can see that they like the morning. Sometimes they catch them in the afternoon. But like between 5 and 6 o'clock, oh my God, they are there, dude. They are coming and going from the mountain. And it repeats itself. So it's a pattern. You have to go out there at a certain time of day, at a certain time of month, and you really have to pay attention.
Okay, all right. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I scribbled down the months already. You said there's the most activity. Unfortunately, we got to wait for that activity to happen because we're not in the months you mentioned. But let's see. Kevin here says each religion was created by a different race of aliens, which is interesting because you mentioned these orbs or these life forms. They want to be useful to humanity, and they want to be worshipped as gods. So it's interesting because there are obviously different gods. When you're a Roman Catholic or whether you're Jewish, there's worshiping of different gods. But so that could be part of the reason. So let me try to see if any other callers are going to come in, or let me start reading some of the comments. But let me thank you for joining the show. By the way, you mentioned some of these pictures out there and stuff for people to see. Where do they go? Give us the website so we know where to go, so people listening to the show can actually go and see what you're showing on your Facebook page. Where do they go?
Well, you can find me at Jeff Wilwine, Petrobliss in the Sky. It's all one word. You can find me on the internet. You can find my website located on my Facebook page, and there's a link there that will take you to my website. And there you can see the photographs and some of the videos that I've been filming, and where you get a copy of my first book on the life history of Phoenix, Arizona, and what the Phoenix Lights is really according to the Native Americans and the Picture.
Okay, and
So, yeah.
and the last name is spelled, it's Woodwine, which is Woolwine, so it's pretty easy, Woolwine. So just check him out,
Right.
and check out some of the stuff he's got there, and comment here if you go to them today, and then you want to comment on the thread for today's show to Jeff. He'll be able to read the comments that you have to ask questions about what they've actually seen on your website. If they want to explore and get back to you, they'd be able to do that. And I'm sure they can contact you on your website and your Facebook page as well. So thanks again for calling in. Okay?
Yeah, and whenever you're ready to go do some sky watching, Dave, let me know, and we'll make plans.
Yeah, and I want to get out more and more and more, but as some of the people know, I've been babysitting our dog a lot. I hardly get out of the house because I wish I could find an alien to abduct our dog, make her healthy, and then leave our dog. I wish I could find that.
Right.
I wish I could find
Love
that.
your show, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, take care, man. Talk to you.
Yep.
Okay, guys, so let's see if we have any comments here, because sometimes I want to read the comments, but then it's kind of tough because then if I read a comment and I'm looking at them here, then there's stories that were like 5 comments up, so it's hard for me to get this. Let's see. I'll read some of them. They may be completely out of order, out of context, hard to understand because there was a predecessor of comments that led this person to say that. But let's read the couple bottom ones. Mary says, I'm not sure why it would be necessary for aliens to observe or abduct anyone. Wouldn't they have all the info they need by now? Now that's interesting. However, you never know. For instance, if an alien craft was here and they were here because their planet is in a state of disarray, maybe they're close to absorbing all the minerals off the planet, so they're here observing us at the moment that they need stuff, or maybe they're taking stuff already and we just kind of don't know it because maybe it's being dragged out of the surface or below the surface of the earth. I don't know, but so it's, wouldn't they get all the info they need by now? I mean, you would think so, depending on what your perspective is of when they started coming here. And I guess you'd have to have the time increment there to validate if they've been here long enough to know everything about us. It's funny, we watch TV shows we watch TV shows for 10 years. We would maybe get tired of that TV show after 10 years, mash around for like 10 years, and wouldn't we be tired of that TV show? So maybe they look at us like we're reality shows to them, and they're not tired of us yet because they're fascinated with our stupidity, which is quite possible for a sophisticated, intelligent race that has evolved way beyond us to be witnessing the stupidity of the human race. Maybe they're fascinated by that, or maybe they're here to think about how they can take us over. Of course,